Nelson Mandela once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." Today we delve deeper into the nature of fear, unmasking its psychological and physiological aspects. Fear is an instinctual response, hardwired into our brains. It has been our silent ally throughout evolution, alerting us to potential dangers and preparing our bodies for action. When we perceive a threat, our brain's amygdala lights up, triggering a cascade of physiological responses. Our hearts race, our muscles tense, and our senses sharpen, a state of hyper-alertness known as the fight-or-flight response. But fear isn't just an alarm system. It's also a powerful emotion that can shape our thoughts and behaviors. Have you ever noticed how fear can make a small problem seem like a mountain? Or how it can make us hesitate when we face unfamiliar situations? That's fear at work, influencing our perceptions and decisions. It's important to understand that fear, in itself, is not negative. It's a survival mechanism designed to protect us. But like a fire, it can be both useful and destructive. A controlled flame can cook our food and keep us warm, but if it gets out of hand, it can burn everything in its path. Similarly, fear can either protect us or paralyze us, depending on how we manage it. Consider this. Fear is like a wild horse. Uncontrolled, it can run rampant, causing chaos and destruction. But if you learn to ride it, if you understand its nature and respect its power, you can turn it into a force that drives you forward. So, fear isn't something to be eliminated. It's a part of us, woven into our very being. It's a tool that, when understood, can be harnessed for motivation and growth. It's a challenge to be faced, a mountain to be climbed, a wild horse to be tamed. Fear, when understood, can be harnessed as a tool for motivation and growth. And that understanding begins with recognizing it, acknowledging it, and respecting its power. Only then can we begin to master it and use it as a stepping stone towards courage and personal growth. Fear has been a part of human life since the dawn of time, viewed differently across cultures and ages. Ancient Greeks, for instance, personified fear into deities like Phobos and Deimos, representing panic and dread, to make sense of this powerful emotion. In contrast, the Stoic philosophers saw fear as an obstacle to be overcome, a sentiment echoed by the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius when he said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." In medieval times, fear was often linked to superstitions and the supernatural, shaping societies in profound ways. Fast forward to the Enlightenment, figures like philosopher Immanuel Kant began to study fear from a rational perspective, seeing it as a natural response to the unknown. From the Eastern philosophies, we learn about the concept of Maya, or illusion, suggesting that fear is often born from our misperceptions. As ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "There is no illusion greater than fear." The understanding of fear has evolved, yet its grip remains the same. Great minds like Eleanor Roosevelt, Nelson Mandela, and Marie Curie faced fear and used it constructively. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face." She faced the fear of public opinion and political controversy head-on, becoming a beacon for human rights. Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years, remarked, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." His fear didn't cripple him, it fueled his fight for freedom. Marie Curie, a pioneer in radioactivity, worked despite societal disapproval and the fear of the unknown. She famously stated, "Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood." Her fear became a catalyst for her groundbreaking discoveries. These great minds teach us that our response to fear can define our journey. Fear is a tool, and like any tool, we can learn to use it effectively. Mindfulness, for instance, helps us stay anchored in the present, away from hypothetical anxieties. Gradual exposure is another technique, letting us face our fears in manageable doses. Positive reframing, meanwhile, allows us to shift our perspective, viewing fear not as an obstacle, but as a challenge to overcome. These strategies, inspired by the great minds we discussed, can help us harness fear. Mastering fear does not mean eliminating it, but rather guiding its power to serve us. Fear is as much a part of us as joy, love, and curiosity. It's an emotion that has shaped our history, influenced the thoughts of great minds, and continues to play a pivotal role in our lives today. Harnessing its power, as shown by the likes of Eleanor Roosevelt, Nelson Mandela, and Marie Curie, can lead us to significant personal growth. By understanding fear, we can learn to manage it effectively, using practical strategies inspired by these great minds. As the great Marie Curie said, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood." So understand your fears and let them guide you towards growth and success.